We're making chana masala. It's gonna be delicious. We gotta make rice first. I've already washed this. Take rice, this is just a cup of rice. I put it in this metal bowl and you literally just put water in it, move it around with your fingers until the water runs clear, and that's wash. But if you don't if you skip that step, it'll be starchy and it leads to clumpy rice. So what we're gonna do first is I have some oil down in here that is getting happy. We're gonna take some cumin seeds, some whole cumin seeds, and we're just gonna let those toast up a little bit. You can hear them immediately. We're not gonna let them fry totally. We just wanna get them aromatic. You'll be able to smell them. Once those toast for just a second, we're also gonna add, let's add some coriander seeds. We're not gonna add a ton. There we go. Just start to bubble and pop a little bit. I can hear that going, so I'm gonna add the rice. What we're doing here is we're toasting the rice. This gets oil and whatever fat of choice. Coating each grain of rice. It makes it so it won't stick together so oddly, and also it opens up the flavors of the rice. You know, fat on these, coating them is going to be, you know, make each individual rice grain nice and sort of toasted, whole flavors. It's not going to be as bland, I guess, as some rice. We're gonna let that toast for just a little bit, a couple minutes. Then we're gonna add, this is 1 cup of jasmine rice, 1.5 cups of water. Bring that to a boil. I'm gonna add salt to the process as well. Right now, I'm just trying to get a nice toast. You can go pretty far with rice in general. Jasmine rice itself usually stays white, so I wouldn't want to build any color on this. But cooking it like this is really gonna open up. You can really smell the cumin coming out of this, which is, if you've never had cumin before, cumin. It smells like tacos. This is the main spice in tacos, little seed pods. I also have some of that ground up in here, along with some other spices, including coriander, mustard seed, a little turmeric, a little curry, a little chili powder. I have some of these chilies right here that I left split open, but half of this is also in there just to give it some more flavor. All right, I'm gonna add the water here after I toss these a little bit. Perfect. All right, so now all we're doing is adding water. Stir this around. I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt while I do this, just so it's seasoned as it cooks. And then the job we have now is to bring this up to a boil. Turn this all the way up, crank it. Once this comes up to a boil, we turn the heat down to low, cover it, and just let it simmer for 15-ish minutes. Take it off the heat after that and set it aside while we cook the rest of our stuff. They say a watch pot doesn't boil, but here we are. Here we are, doing the damn thing. It's about a rough enough boil for me. Some people put it in like pasta water. In fact, the instructions on this bag are get it to a boil and then do pasta water type situation where you dump the rice in. I've never done that actually. And while we do, this is heating up and we're just gonna keep going right now. It's really not gonna be that hard. So we've been preheating this just slightly on low heat for a little bit just to get this oil going. Bring it up to medium high heat. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna let this preheat for a second. And then we are going to toast some spices, do our aromatics, and then getting this going. Chana Masala is a curry made with chickpeas. I just have canned chickpeas here. You can soak your own if you really want to. I don't see a reason to do so unless you're a big garbanzo bean head, unless you're a big chickpeer and you have big opinions on the types of chickpeas you want to eat and the consistency and stuff. I'm not though. I just have chickpeas around sometimes, make some hummus every once in a while. Usually eat them in a preparation like this, add them to a stew. You can also fry them up and stuff, but All right, our oil is preheated a little bit. You can see it moves similar to water, a little more viscous, of course. You can put your hand down in there to test to see how long it goes. Don't stick your actual hand in the oil, of course, you'll burn it, but you should get used to being able to feel with your hand. You might see me do that from time to time to be like, okay, that's about good for frying. So we're gonna do a similar thing here. We're gonna toast some spices. So whole cumin, coriander, and mustard seed. Not doing a ton, but it will offer some variation in texture and flavor. These will open up and toast. Get these moving around a little bit in the hot oil. Their flavors are going to spread out throughout the oil. Once these start bubbling, we're going to add the onions. There's just a couple really small yellow onions. You can use whatever kind of onion you like or what you have in the house. I have this red onion too. I mean, it's not traditional, but you can use red onion, doesn't matter. Okay, these have been toasting for a second. We're gonna add the onions. Okay, a little salt. I also have carrots here, which is not traditional, but I like carrots and the sweetness they bring to things. They'll be good in your Chana Masala. In fact, you know, you don't have to make it in any specific way. You can add all sorts of different kinds of vegetables that you like and have around your house. Bell peppers would be really good. Any kind of peppers. You could do regular tomatoes instead of the canned tomatoes I got. A little bit more salt. Just make sure. Once those cook down a little bit, we're going to add the carrots. Oh, actually, what I want to add right now is this as well. This is a whole bay leaf, bit of a cinnamon stick. I could have added those with the cumin seeds. I just forgot to. But these are going to toast and add a lot of nice round flavor. You can pick them out later. We're not going to eat them whole. These are going to be delicious in there. Get some fruitiness from the chili. Obviously, the cinnamon stick is going to be in there steeping. The bay leaf is going to add some nice flavors and toast in there a little bit. You can get some heat from the chilies a little bit. Of course, depending on the ones you use, you get more or less heat. These are Mexican chilies. These are like arbol or something. All right, I cut these small so it would go relatively quick and sort of move into a sauce. You can see that it's a pretty fine dice. Just keep it moving so nothing gets burnt and everything gets nice coverage. All right, I'm gonna wait just a little bit on this and then we're gonna add the carrots. So I'm gonna prep those right now. There we go. These are just shredded. I have a peeler, so I peeled it and then I use this shred peeler to do the outside. You could also cut it up into small little chunks or not use carrot if you don't like it. I don't know why you wouldn't like carrots. Carrots are delicious. So carrots can go in. It's gonna add a lot of body, nice sweetness. Carrot also goes really well with everything we're putting in here, including hand smashed ginger garlic paste that I made, which we will put in a little bit later. Those nice and mixed in. Happy with everything else. Everything should be, it should look well mixed. Everything should have a similar distribution. Now, of course, the way I cut this is going to make it like shreddy and stuff, but I like that. So we're going to let those cook for a little bit. As they do, as they cook down a little bit, we're going to add some of the seasonings, which we can do right now. You kind of want to let them get down and wilted a little bit for a second. Start letting them stew up. Man, it smells really good. Okay, I didn't really measure it. Just eyeballed it. Oh yeah. Man, that's fragrant. Love cooking Indian food because of this. All right. Keep it going. This doesn't really take a long time. As you can see, it's been like 8 minutes. Really doesn't take that long. Those are getting a little more happy. Not for much longer, maybe 30 seconds, a minute or so. We don't want to put too much color on the onions because we're going to cook this for a little bit. You can see like we have some browning on some of this stuff. Obviously, the color has dramatically changed. I'm going to put the ginger and garlic paste in at this point, which I hand smashed in the mortar and pestle. You don't have to hand smash it, but it is better due to the way that the flavor comes out of these. When you smash something, you're smashing the cells of the vegetable and letting all the flavor come out rather than cutting through some of them with a knife, which will of course be less flavorful. Garlic and ginger paste in Indian food is super standard. In fact, at this point, if you've never made Indian food before, if this is your first foray, you will be like, oh, I recognize this smell, assuming you've had Indian food before. I recognize this. It should be immediately fragrant. If it's not, you have COVID. Or another thing that attacks your sense of smell. Impossible not to notice the scent. So those toast for about a minute or so, maybe a little bit longer. You just don't want to make it go too long. There's a little water in that stuff though, so you can cook down for a second. Get some of the harshness of the garlic out. I don't know how many cloves of garlic. It's really to taste, but roughly equal parts. You could do a little more garlic than ginger, or just do, what you got. I probably put, 6 cloves of garlic in this. But some of them were kind of small, so, it's subjective. You're cooking. All right. So these are just canned DiNapolis. I'm going to add some of the sauce while I break up these whole tomatoes. Normally this would call for like tomato sauce or tomato paste or something to give it a little more wide flavor, or fresh tomatoes. Obviously it doesn't really matter that much. There'll be different flavors depending on what time of year it is and how you're doing it. But not that drastic. We'll probably add more of that in a little bit, but right now I want to add some liquid from the tomatoes. Just gonna get all this shit off my hands. My gloved hand. If you don't have a gloved hand, you can of course use different tools to break that up. You get a food mill, you could blitz it if you want, you could smash it with a fork, whatever you want to do. Man, that is looking pretty good. Let's see for seasoning. I'm definitely gonna have to add some salt in a little bit. Some sugar, some other stuff. Ooh, a little heat in there too. I'm gonna add more tomato. Couple whole chunky boys. So I added this carrot, and it's gonna add to the color of this. Normally, and I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna add turmeric to this to give it some more nice color. It's gonna orange it up a little bit. If you've never had turmeric, it's quite floral, assertive, and definitely changes the color of things. You see this color deepening when I do that. All right. The garbanzos. The garbanzos go in, the chickpeas with the liquid, the aquafaba. You're gonna want liquid in this, of course. And it cooks down. I'm gonna add a little bit of water. This is not actually Essentia. This is filtered water. I just like to keep the bottle. There we go. Just a little bit to loosen it up because it's gonna simmer for a little bit. It's about time to take our rice off the heat. Did about 7, so 15 minutes on the burner. Leave it covered for even longer. Another 10 minutes or so. Everything is done. We have our Chana Masala here. Stir it occasionally over the course of the 20 minutes or 25 minutes or 30 minutes. Whenever you feel like these are done. These can absolutely, they'll sit around, you reheat them. It'll be even better. I'm not going to bring that chili with me. Just take it nice. It's just like a thick veggie stew. Right? And I add those carrots, so it's going to be, it's going to hold together a little bit different than it would if it didn't have the carrots in it. But as you can see, it has a delightful color to it. I'm also going to finish with a little of that. You can also, usually garam masala, you mix in kind of at the end. It's a finishing spice. Has a little anise in it. Obviously curry, other stuff. It'll be delicious. And then finish with a little squeeze our lime. The acid is going to be nice. It's going to brighten it up a little bit. Cut the heat just slightly. There you go. Chana masala. Delicious. All right, so normally you could eat this with like a piece of bread, naan or something, but you don't have to. You can just get after it. This bite's gonna be hot, but it's gonna be delish. Dude, has such deep flavor. And of course, you know these are chickpeas. You know, beans and rice, classic pairing. Very hearty. I mean, this tastes like, you know, all the best curries you've ever had. It's so good. As you cook these down, the texture on these is going to be creamier and creamier. And it's going to be awesome. All right, so that's Chana Masala. Or thereabouts. You know, the carrot isn't tradish. Doesn't matter, though. It's delicious. You should make this. It's vegan.